Hello everyone, my name is Shane Clark and this is my final project on the controversy of Hamburger Hill. Guys, in advance, for some reason my mic isn't picking anything up unless it's in my mouth, so we are going to have to just bear through the obnoxious sounds that I make while breathing. But the Vietnam War was one of the most divisive conflicts in American history, and the Battle of Hamburger Hill stands out as one of its most controversial moments. In May of 1969, U.S. soldiers fought through intense jungle terrain and heavy enemy fire to take a hill that would be quickly abandoned. This brutal 10-day battle, officially known as the Battle of Apia Mountain, shocked both military leaders and the American public. The controversy came not just from the high number of casualties, but from questions about whether the fight was even necessary and how the media portrayed it. The Battle of Hamburger Hill was controversial because of the heavy losses suffered, the questionable strategic importance of the hill, and the way the news coverage fueled growing anger toward the Vietnam War. The fighting at Hamburger Hill was some of the toughest and bloodiest of the Vietnam War. The soldiers of the 101st Airborne Division faced steep terrain and dug in North Vietnamese forces who were ready for them. Climbing uphill through dense jungle under constant fire, the troops suffered heavy losses. Reports showed that 72 American soldiers were killed and hundreds more wounded in just 10 days of fighting. The battle was so violent that many soldiers compared it to a meat grinder, which is how it earned its name, Hamburger Hill. Even for seasoned combat veterans, the loss of life seemed excessive. The families back home began questioning why so many young men were dying for what seemed like a meaningless patch of ground. The strategic value of Hamburger Hill was also debated. After the 101st Airborne finally reached the top, the North Vietnamese army simply withdrew, only to return after U.S. forces left the area. Military experts and even some politicians wondered if the hill was worth taking at all. Senator Edward Kelly famously called it senseless and irresponsible, criticizing military leadership for risking so many lives for what he saw as a matter of pride rather than strategy. Hay, ex- Hay explains that once the hill was secured, U.S. and South Vietnamese forces left it behind because Operation Apache Snow was not about holding territory, but about reducing the enemy's fighting strength. However, since the North Vietnamese quickly returned, it made the victory seem pointless, and this caused frustration among soldiers who had fought hard and among Americans who were already questioning the purpose of the war. Another major reason for the controversy was how the media covered the battle. Graphic reports and photographs showed the brutal reality of what was happening in Vietnam, and it hit home for the American people. News outlets reported the number of casualties, printed photos of exhausted soldiers, and aired footage of the muddy, smoke-filled hilltop. Many people began to see the war as a series of costly, senseless battles that did not achieve what they thought it should. Public support for the war dropped even further after Hamburger Hill, and protests across the country grew louder. As Hay points out, this backlash helped push American leaders toward the policy of Vietnamization, turning the fighting over to the South Vietnamese forces and beginning to withdraw American troops. Sorry, having some trouble with the slides. In the end, the Battle of Hamburger Hill became a turning point in how the Vietnamese War was viewed. What was meant to be a tactical victory ended up becoming a symbol of wasted effort and poor strategy. The combination of high casualties, lack of long-term gain, and the real honesty of the media coverage made Americans lose even more faith in the war effort. The battle showed the flaws in the U.S. military tactics and the growing divide between those fighting and those watching back home. Hamburger Hill proved that even a successful battle could feel like a loss when the cost of human life was too high.